Is Science Filmmaking Is Your Passion? Provoke the Change by Miss Brigitte Uttar-Konodsky. I will request Sri Nimish Kapoorji to kindly introduce our panelists to everyone. Nimishji.
Welcome and thank you, Brigitte, to be here. And I welcome you on behalf of the organizers of International Science Film Festival of India and India International Science Festival. And I would like to tell our participant, Ms. Brigitte Uttar-Konodsky, is an animal rights activist who resides in Switzerland. A multifaceted personality with an extensive background in juridical science, philosophy, photography, art history, and music led her use expertise in filmmaking for working towards the betterment of society. She went on to produce and direct human rights film in Africa and have received recognition from high-level authorities in political and religious communities for spreading the message of peace and peaceful coexistence. Subsequently, she moved her focus towards animal rights, specifically elephants in India. Since 2011, Brigitte has made various films depicting the plight of elephants in India. Her awards-winning film, Where the Elephant Sleeps, in an eye-opener for what the suffering giants have to endure. Currently, she is working HE Conflict, HE Coexistence documentary in India, and interacts with youth from colleges and universities about elephant protection and related conservational issues next to realizing projects for the elephants' welfare. Amongst other projects, the food treatment project started by her NGO has helped alleviate problems of numerous elephants. She is also ambassador for Captive Elephant FIAPO India and founder and president of charity organization Elephanton in North. She works as an independent filmmaker in the field of biodiversity and elephant conservation in India and is author of different magazines on wildlife protection and elephant issues. So welcome, Brigitte, and I request Sabyasachi to proceed.
Thank you very much, sir. So, as you know, that the topic of the class is Science Filmmaking Is Your Passion? Provoke the Change. And no one can talk on this topic better than Brigitte, because I know Brigitte since so many years, and I had seen the passion, with the passion she makes films, and the way she is concerned about her subjects also. Sometimes we see that the filmmaker moves on from the subject after making a film. They don't do anything, but this thing is not with the Brigitte. And if you want to be a filmmaker, passion is the first thing. Passion is the fuel which ignites this flame. So my first question to Brigitte is to you, is that why elephant? At what point of time you decided to become from a human right filmmaker, human right activist, to a wildlife activist, and to dedicate your whole energy towards a single species, elephant? What was the triggering point? So tell us a little about your journey from human rights to the elephant rights.
Yeah. Also, welcome everybody, first of all, and thank you so much, Mr. Nimish Kapoor, for that wonderful invitation, and thank you, Sabyasachi, for the introduction as well. You see, there is only a tiny step between the rights issues, between human rights and elephant rights, and I always felt that if human rights are respected, we have no violations on animals as well. but it's not the case. So a long answer in short, my personal shift from human rights to elephant rights is of course never that strict directed and that strict limited to now is this and then is that. It's still both, but the focus is more on the four legs than on the two. But still the issues and the problems are related to humans as well as they are to elephants. So the elephant is just the center, meanwhile, of my topic, and everything which is radiating around it, like, name it, environmental issues, forest issues, etc. That is all human related. So an elephant is human related. So it's still in that there. So what happened to me was that when I came to India the first time 10 years back, and it literally dropped from somewhere into my lap, and I had the title of the film without having seen one single elephant, with having shot one single shoot on where the elephant sleeps, nothing. I just knew the title. That is my title. So where are the elephants? And in a sudden they were there. They were just coming as big gray spots moving like this in a very small thing towards me from the end of the road. And I had a wonderful Punjabi driver, and I said to Deepak was his name, and I said to him, come, let's follow. Let's see where they go. And they went all the way to Jaipur, to Hattigang, through the elephant village. And that's where the whole journey started. Yeah. Does it answer the question?
So I still want to understand what was the triggering point that you decided why not on tiger, why not on some other endangered species, why not on hippopotamus in Africa, or why not a rhinoceros in Assam? Why only elephant?
The elephant selected me, not vice versa.
Okay, so it's like sometimes subject selects you.
Yes.
I so many filmmakers, when you will talk, they will say that no, subject has selected me. Wow.
Yes, it is like that. It's not just a phrase in turning a sentence around. It is literally like this. I feel I have not selected anything. I just felt, okay, of course, I can tell you my attractions. I can tell you my love for these creatures. And since they are so huge by body weight and mass, I felt they must have something very small and tender in their souls that corresponds with me. But I was not thinking, again, I keep repeating this. They came just towards me, and I saw their suffering, and I started filming and shooting and understanding more and more. I had no idea at the very beginning, no idea.
So have you followed that traditional style of filmmaking where you know your subject and then you research and then you write and then you decided to go to search the people and then you interview and then you shoot and then you edit? Was it this, or how you decided to go? What happened after going to Hathigram?
Yeah, I think it's a general thing with me, because I'm a very inspired person by things I see. And if I do not see them, I keep the distance to them. But once I'm in the middle, it really gets me. The same thing happened with human rights films and my film about Charles Taylor, which is a major warlord in entire Africa, actually, but he acted in West Africa, and all the child soldiers on all this. So that happened the same way. This guy flew, they captured him on the Nigerian border, and this guy flew with a helicopter downtown to jail in what's that called? Aberdeen. And the people were frightened, and I just pull out my camera. I feel the helicopter. I followed this thing over me, and then I realized, wait a minute, there's Charles Taylor sits in there, and then it goes from there. You know, it's not selected. It's just you have the impetus of what is happening there. I want to know. I just say at the end of my lecturing, then there are 3 W's that you have in general. This is where, when, and what. And these 3 W's are always there for me. I want just to know. I'm driven by that. And the same happened to basically to the elephants. I went to Hattigang with the driver. He saw for his first time the Punjabi guy elephants. He'd never seen them. So did I in lifetime, also in real time. I've seen them in the zoo, but not in real time. So this was real time, and I was completely impressed how this huge animal can stand in a concrete block, barely able to move around, barely pull up his foot because he was tied left and right. And I just looked and looked and looked and looked. I can't say anything else. And then throughout the filming, actually, I figured out, that's not right. There's something wrong. What is it? And then I looked at their feet and I saw the foot problems. I looked at their bodies. I saw sunburned skin. I looked at their eyes. They had eye infection. They were not taken care of. So the whole thing went on like this. Yeah.
It means that you are very passionate about something which
Absolutely.
you decide to go through.
Yeah. If it really gets me, if it gets your energy, your body, it's like falling in love with something. It's just that you can't stop.
Okay, so let us understand the meaning of passion from you. What do you mean by passion? Like how you define the word passion for you? Like what is passion? What happened?
So passion is when you simply go for it, when you not ask, the entire rationality that comes sometimes with people when they have to do something, like, I have not enough money, don't have the skills, I don't have this, I don't have that. All the negative don't haves are completely wiped out. That has nothing to do with it. We don't need this. We do not need classes basically just to teach what to do. You need to put your inner side, your life, your soul into it. And once you're there, then there's no doubt that you will succeed. You will.
So passion is necessary to create something and to be successful in life, you want to say.
Yeah.
It can be of any subject. It can be filmmaking. It, as the scientists are doing their research.
Music. A singer is not just, you can learn it on the academy. You have to you bring this with you. That is your inner, and of course then you learn the ability, but you have it already. It's just a little modification. That's all to it.
But okay, so passion is there and you start following your subject passionately. But I want to understand, does sometimes this passion towards the subject doesn't overpower the subject or the film itself, and sometimes due to our passion we sometimes go beyond our ethical boundary to make a film?
It goes beyond ethical boundaries? No.
Sometimes you cross the boundary because you are so passionate, or sometimes you are so passionate about the subject that you stop seeing bird's eye view about the subject. Don't you think so?
No. Also, I don't know, but not in my case. Also, because the topic is so broad, in a sense, it's so inclusive of many, many issues and topics that no, I wouldn't say so at all. I mean, that depends on the temperament and the character of the filmmaker, I guess, but yeah. Can you hear me? I'm not sure, we were just...
Yes.
But I don't see you anymore.
Yes, they are there.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
So now coming to filmmaking. So please let us know, like how you proceed a subject, how you make a film, what are the procedures, what new film a person want to make a film, what he should do, like all these things.
Okay, then shall I start in general?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Also, the shortest distance between science and society is cinema. Films are powerful tools of scientific communication and can be used in many different contexts. But one of the most needed is to bring the general public closer to scientific context. That's what we need here. The fact that scientists talk mostly among themselves, with the knowledge seldomly leading to change matters, should make us rethink how conservation knowledge should be practiced and community-based, integrating indigenous knowledge to the same amount as scientific research. What often is missing is the holistic picture and the diversity that makes a film valuable. I think that's what you meant right now. And we should aim for community-driven conservation. Science films should include more, in my understanding, more the field research details. The grassroots level perspective provides a realistic point of view to the work. For example, you make a film about wetland conservation, Depot Bale around Guwahati, for example, or elephant conservation on human-elephant conflict, that's in my case. You need to focus on community-based conservation and include locals and their experiences. Or your subject is, for example, the impact of civilization near freshwater waterways. There you have a lot of research to do, or affected marine life through an oil spill or whatsoever. Science knowledge needs to leave the laboratory. It needs to reach the people and spark the change. So this can go both ways, because if you see the destruction around us, you will create an energy to improve that. It's just in our human being nature. So this can go both ways. Either the scientist becomes a filmmaker, respectively learns about filmmaking tools, or the filmmaker becomes an activist, a scientist, and an environmentalist, him or herself, which is the normal case. So first of all, I will tell you about what I will not talk about, which is choosing the right story, writing treatments and pitches of storyboard, getting funds for your film, building a strong structure for your story, working with archives, writing a documentary script, the art of conducting an interview, using visual techniques, recording on set, etc., name it. I will not talk about this today. But I want you to understand that what it takes to become a documentary filmmaker. So just that. I want you to leave this room inspired and drunken from passion and ideas. That's my goal. And I want you to leave the room with lots of contradictions in your head of how you make your film and how to look at things from different perspectives. Contradictions are healthy. There's no way to be afraid of it or do something streamlined. This is what it brings it to life and actually to light. So as I said, from one day to another, I grew into a deep relation to elephants while shooting, and later on editing Where the Elephant Sleeps. I knew the title of the film before I shot one single scene in India. I was on that highway in Jaipur, not even considering the impact of the film it will have later on, or on my life and on the elephants. That's what you only can call like karma, maybe. I don't know. So there's not much more to add to it. The best place to shoot for me was always the place where the so-called ordinary people are, where the inspiring side of life is, where you find your source materials, your protagonists that carry through the film, the background sounds, where the chemistry happens between you as a filmmaker and the world of human beings, of nature, of animals, That's what you're shooting for. You need to understand that filmmaking is bigger than just putting images on the timeline. You're looking for the best, explosive, passionate, and everlasting images in your people's mind in front of your camera to give your film the inner voice. Your audience needs to carry these images of the cinema once it has seen your film and not forget them. You want them to leave the cinema hall doors with, they can stop thinking about it. Yeah, that's what you want. Your film should trigger emotions in the people who are watching it, and at its best, provoke a change in their perception, in their lives. This is the goal. So think about what people need when you make your film. Think about yourself, what you need when you watch a film. To get started, you need to find a subject that will sustain your interest for the next, let's say, 6 months, 6 years, or maybe 60 years. Yeah. That depends on the matter, or maybe how, you know, in my case, I found the elephants over 50, and I think I won't leave that subject anymore. Not excluding anything else, I'm saying. You have to be open to the story, because it will be twisting and turning as you go. You must be able to communicate complex concepts and detailed content to a broad audience. We are not speaking about entertainment films here. Science films are factual films. Not that a film cannot be entertaining when it deals with a serious subject. I'm not saying that. But first of all, the material should be explosive. And by explosive, I do not mean spectacular. I mean unique. If you got that thing that is burning inside and saying, I have to do this, only you can do it, no one else. This is your film. So, one second. To get started, what is the motivation for shooting? For lifting the camera and pointing in the direction of where you think that there is something that you want to tell. Because you won't know in the beginning. I'm a guerrilla filmmaker. I don't do things twice. I do it once and that's it. And I'm not waiting actually for elephants. Of course, you're getting up every early morning at 3:30, and you hop in the car and you hope that you see them, and all the other people are already there. So these kind of things, of course, are repetitive, but you do things only once. So if you just want to get the message across, you as well might consider writing an article or using a quick handy shot. So you will point your camera on something that is not that easy to describe. And you know it's unique with a lot of work to come. So if you want to make a film, you must be visual with all your senses and believe in the power of pictures. Believe in the power of what you are shooting. You need to meet the moment with the urgency it demands. So, if you make a documentary about climate change, for example, look out for the pictures which have a high impact and body language. The body language of an image that suits a common purpose. For example, to tackle climate change, you will have multiple choices. Open your eyes, they will fall right in. Same is for environmental pollution or any other topic you might select, or shall I better say, have selected you. What attracts you to take the sequence or picture? Evaluate your ideas for freshness and make sure that you have a unique story to tell. Simply, you don't want to tell what has already been told, so research well. Even love stories were told 100,000 times. And all the time there is a new one, a new perspective on love, a different angle and a different light on different persons falling in love. Make sure you find interesting people in front of your lens to tell that story. So that is what you're looking for. The different angle for theatrical films. We are not talking about theatrical films, we're talking documentary films like here. It's like two different animals, theatrical and documentary. So here we are only talking on documentary films. Make sure that your film is worth the money to go in the cinema. I would even like to say, don't think, dance you shoot, dive into and steer your film up, follow your heart and trust your abilities, trust your skills. You have skills. You don't need to learn them. You can just add to your skills. Trust your skills and learn how to use them. Trust your instincts, your intuition, your gut feelings. Then you're right. Take a lot of time studying the location, the story, the people around you, and be respectful, of course, to all the things around you, and research well. The research process does not stop when shooting starts, and it's not finished when editing stopped. Be provocative, be experimental. Don't wait, or wait long enough until you got it. Be fresh and ready, and go for the unknown. Go for it. Even if you don't know what will come out at the end, like I didn't know what will come out. Will I make a film or not? I didn't know. It will be sure worth going for it. And be aware that your film must be unique. There is a story only you can tell. So make this to your story. No one else will tell it except you. The world is falling apart and people are exhausted, drained from the clash of opinions and concepts about what should be right and good now and how things have to be done. Many people no longer want to follow the meaningless political intrigues and no longer feel the fear of the future that it brings with it around the globe. Between overproduction in the Western countries and poverty on the other side of the world, this world, there is only one single spoon to share that will fill all our stomachs. There is so much need of good documentaries that communicate the importance of science and help us understand environmental and biodiverse issues. Learn from these films, steer things up, literally take a spoon and steer it up. Turn things around and see how they work best in your head, on paper, on the timeline. It should all help us to ask the question of being human today with new answers, maybe, yes. What if the human being was not a defective being, but one that emerges, embraces, and absorbs things, everything? The fact that science apparently has a hard time to make it to the broad public, despite the fact that it is originated right there. It barely finds its way back to the people. So why is that? The digital era has brought the revolution of mass media, YouTube, Netflix, Vimeo, and so many other platforms. We are expressing complex theories and their direct physical nature into a film language that will be understood by everybody. Be visual. No one wants to be bothered by statistics and numbers on your screen. Your mind will shut down after the third number. Use this to a small amount only just to enforce your images or your context or voiceover, whatever you consider, depending on what you want to say. And do me a favor, stop explaining images. That's not needed. They speak for themselves. You want to create something very strong in all frames, something that no one will forget, something with a strong impact. If it doesn't let go while you shoot it, it will also not let go the audience who views it. This is how it should be. And this is for both theatrical and documentary films. I want the audience to be glued to the screen, possibly with the jar dropped or hearing the needle fall. And this is more than just being entertained and have wasted 2 hours of their lives to 100,000 tons of films that are around us, and they don't stick in your minds. They should stick. No one should forget what you have shot. This is the very unique task that you have for your very unique film. Everybody shall remember your film. So if you take your own fascination for cinema at hand and transform this into images or sound as well, then you are on the right track. To make the world a better place to live in, that's what it is about. If it doesn't touch your heart, you failed. Laboratory windows often turn into blackboards for notes. However, transparency in science doesn't mean that lay people cannot do anything with their results. It's like, how to put it? You do not want to eat numbers and statistics or any visual technology on your plate. The milligram content that happened of your vitamins, that happened before, during production, on the shoot. What you want to see is the real thing, made of flesh and blood. Real food. I'm not talking about meat. You want food that smells good, tastes good, looks good, digests good, and is even healthy. That is what you want. And you want to grow it yourself. Growing your own vegetables is like making your own film, in a sense. You can save money and time if you're capable to overlook the process of shooting, editing, treatment, post-production. However, it's a healthy process to do it in a teamwork and have a production team as well. One of the most questions that come up is, how do you fund your documentary? I'm not a good person to answer that question. With a micro budget, between $5,000 and $10,000 maybe you can do, and granted you have some roles under your own department, under yourself. You can be a cameraman, editor, color grading, sound mix. You need different people, but you also can overlook it on yourself, on your own. So you have to have some skills under your control. This will pay half the rent. To put it in a nutshell, what we urgently need are films that not only put the destruction and the critique in front of your eyes, but also the qualities we need to share or regain, the ethical values we seem to have lost in many ways, the uncontrolled man-made obstacles that bring, for example, wildlife to extinction. Because these poor creatures do not share our greedy needs. They simply forage the forest to satisfy their hunger. No doubt, there is an impact of mindless forest encroachment by people on the migrational behavior of elephants. The waters and forest of life and the oil, wood or rock industry do not mix. So thanks to GPS mapping, we have maps available which clearly show the shrinking of forest land throughout the years, like 15 years back, 20 years back. And we can now speak of local herds, meaning herds that do not migrate due to being confined in their little forest patch. They stay there. And that's not all. Inbreeding starts when poaching is on the rise, because it's made easy in a situation that can be overlooked. Additionally, the destruction of the corridors which connect one forest batch with another by erecting factories and other industries in these corridors does not contribute to human-elephant conflict on a large scale. Does contribute, actually. Sorry. The animals, buffalo hills, water bucks, tigers, the elephants are an example to us of what we should recover in our spirit. And they are also a warning to us that if we do not recover this sense, nature will turn on us one day. Maybe as right now under COVID. Because you cannot eliminate something precious in life without killing something in your soul. A recent review of documented field observations of elephants at carcasses reveals patterns of elephants' behavior towards their dead, regardless of the strength of former relationships with a deceased individual. The most common behaviors observed were approaching the dead, touching and examining the carcass. This behavior sends chills up my spine. Would you go there and show reference to trees illegally mowed down or any dead animal? Would we do this to our forests or lost wildlife? Would we remember the flying of birds from trees in the rainforest cut down by chainsaws? Or Rakan oil, Exxon, Indian oil, for example, or any other? No. Or maybe. We will turn away and let this happen silently. Next question would be, do elephants generate strength from grief about their death, about their dead? Is mourning a common social behavior that strengthens the community? Can we associate temporal glands streaming by a young female standing at her mother's dead carcass with higher emotions? We don't know anything, we just deduct. The motivations underlying observed behaviors are hard to determine, but clearly vary across circumstances and individuals. Let's put it that way. The forest we lose to rock or sand quarrying, the jungle due to oil fracking, is the forest that we lose inside. I do feel very strongly like this. Wildlife and environmental crime is a common act of destruction on a global scale. We all know that, with a global impact. COVID, again, might just prove that matter. If we, and we do, lose large trees and thus the many functions in the forest, it will take hundreds of years to replace these giant trees, which represent the cornerstones of diversity and resilience of the entire forest community. The forests of our planet are its lungs and a complex ecosystem. that cushions extremes of heat and cold, stores a lot of water, and creates a very humid air. Forests are able to store massive amounts of carbon to mitigate climate change and provide important living conditions for wildlife and so many different species of animals. Currently, environmentalists, myself included, fight for Nambo Doikrung Wildlife Sanctuary and the Ding Patkai Wildlife Sanctuary, the latter considered the Amazon of the East, with, you have to imagine, 50 species of wild animals, 300 species of birds, including 3 species of hornbills, 40 species of reptiles, 155 of butterflies, 35 of aquatic life, 60 species of plants, and 101 species of orchids. If, in the latter, mining rights will fulfill the 28 conditions and will be legalized, we will lose more than half of the wildlife sanctuary and its precious and unique ecosystem. Coal Limited India had mined 73.2 hectares of forest in the elephant reserve already in the area, illegally. In short, the damage cannot be repaired in a short period of time, if at all. The elephant habitat and corridors in the region are already affected by agricultural expansion, tea plantations, industries, and linear infrastructure like the highways and rail tracks. Coal is a non-renewable resource. Destruction of natural ecosystems for temporary monetary gains will push local communities towards a deeper crisis in the future. We all need to understand these things. Plus, coal mining or oil fracking is one of the most damaging, rampant human violations of natural ecosystems all over the world, not only in India. Blood oil, blood coal, blood rocks, blood water, blood diamonds, name it. We are exploiting our planet to extinction until war is declared, until the ship runs aground and spills 2 million barrels that they just fracked from, let's say, Okavango Delta or the Dehing Patkai into the ocean because it's leaving ground. All considered perfectly safe until it fails. The current world situation is a manifestation of our dysfunctional relationship with nature. We have been warned that depletion of wildlife habitats paved the way for emergence of viruses like HIV, Ebola, SARS, coronaviruses. We just have recent days another mutation. Yet we want to destroy irreplaceable primary forests in Dehing Patkai and Dibang Valley. Deforestation will increase the emission of global warming gases and worsen the climate crisis. Giving precedence to coal over natural forests is regressive, with progressive nations scheduling an end to coal mining. This is a depressing reflection of the lack of foresight and leadership in India, especially when humanity is threatened by an unprecedented health and climate crisis. These words said Ritu Raj Phukon, Secretary General, Green Nature Guard Organization, and I can only agree. We are talking science communication here and filmmaking. The Indian elephant is smart, emotional, highly social and intelligent and self-aware, with a remarkable feature that is their size. And they are messy eaters. While they forage the forest, One of these gentle giants can eat up to 200 kg of plant material per day and walk up to 20 kilometers foraging for food. Tropical rainforests, for example, have a high concentration of chemical defenses like toxins to avoid being eaten. So food is not that easy to find for them. But once they've found food, like it's easy for them to recognize because the mess they leave behind we'll see easily. Striped leaves from twigs, plants, they're messy eaters and huge footprints all over. I'm studying them since 10 years now in captivity and the wild regarding whatever I can grasp. And I share the belief that with scientists that conserving elephants helps fight climate change. We have learned in the past decades how important elephants are for functioning ecosystems. We can synergize efforts and fight climate change by effectively protecting and restoring forest elephant populations and their habitats. If we are all beneficiaries of elephant conservation, we should be also responsible for protecting biodiverse tropical rainforests from which we all benefit instead of clearing them. Wildlife will manage itself. It simply requires our absence. The last thing an elephant wants to see is a human being. Now we're almost coming towards the end. India, being home to 60%, just to give you some, wait, I just lost it, percent of the 60% of the global Asian elephant population has a primary duty to and responsibility for ensuring their conservation by seeking natural migration in all range countries through bringing the subspecies under Appendix 1 of the Convention of Conservation of Migratory Species. The Indian government has accorded the highest degree of legal protection to elephants and listed it under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. As per the elephant census in 2017, India is home to 300 elephants. Assam is home to nearly 6,000 of them and to 30 million people. So, can anyone tell me how this math should go per square kilometer? We estimate some 100 white rhinos in Kaziranga National Park, some 908 elephants in the same. But how many people are permitted to live in 1 square kilometer? How many people can carry 1 square kilometer? We're setting regulations for everything around us, but not for ourselves. Since independence, India grew over 4 times to over 1.3 billion. We claim all rights for ourselves. It's almost like the natural world has lost its meaning. Africa, in comparison to India, has lost 130 elephants in the last decade due to horrifying poaching and the demand of Asian countries for ivory. That means roughly 30,000 a year. That's not even the entire population in India in all the times. I have researched this since all the last years, and my new film on human-elephant conflict in Assam will also come up with some proved solutions to this problem, not to all the problems, but to some. And that's important, what you have to have in your film as well. The film grapples with the historic bond between humans and wildlife / elephants. The human-elephant conflict has worsened particularly in Udalguri, Sonitpur, Nagaon, Karbi Anglong, Golaghat, Gwalpara, in these districts in recent times. Rapid decline of forest cover in parts of Assam loss of traditional elephant movements, path due to linear infrastructure like development projects or human encroachment like rail tracks, etc., are the main culprits. Between 2006 and 2016, wild elephants have killed more than 700 people in Assam, only Assam. According to media reports, in Assam, 100 elephants have died unnatural deaths during the period from 2013 and 16, like on electrocution. The situation has reached catastrophic levels. The area around Golaghat district seeing retaliatory attacks on elephants, including fire spearing. Personally, and regarding wildlife films, I just go for what interests me. And my interests are quite broad. Elephant is the keystone in my case, the eye of the volcano and everything related. I want to know, and I said it before to Sabyasachi, the 3 W's: where, what, and why. And these are the W's which go through your film on a very broad level. Personally, I think India has already a fantastic record of scientific films and on all the subjects, and now we'll make this even bigger. You have to move your ship across the mountain and learn from the extreme. I think this sentence comes from Werner Herzog once, and with that great sentence and the appeal to love and passion for scientific films on conservation and protection of nature, wildlife, and ourselves, at least, I would like to release you to now open questions. I have seen last night one film which really impressed me, and I do not want to do not good to all the others, dare not. I just saw one, and that has impressed me a lot. That is from a film from Amit Goswami, The Bonda Tribe. And yeah, it's a beautiful film. Thank you.
Brigitte, we had a very beautiful film with us, your film, Elephant Kitchen.
The Elephant Kitchen, yeah, thank you.
So, is it possible to play it here?
Definitely.
And then,
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So,
you have the link, are you set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Oh, that is my pleasure. Thank you so much.
So what we will do, we will play Elephant Kitchen by Brigitte, and then probably we will have a short question and answer session because we have like 40 minutes in hand.
40?
Yes, we are
Really?
here
wow.
till 5
Great.
o'clock.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me play it for you.
Okay. Great ideas, Sabyasachi.
Thank you.
was here for 16 years with that elephant. So he has a very good relationship and with elephant. It's a very auspicious and very much loved by the public and loved by the people here. And he is very famous also.
When they have a festival, there are thousands and thousands of people. The elephants are chained from here to here, back and from here and like this chain, and they're made to walk slowly. And crackers are bursted. There's a pujari sitting on top of the elephants. I mean, you can see this elephant. If you go next to it, you can see its eyes. It doesn't know what to do. But because of this tied all over, it just cannot do anything.
The crackers are insane.
Crackers are bursted.
What about elephant ears with the crackers?
Yeah, it's
I
really.
mean, the drums.
Drums must be,
is
they
just
might be having no
crackling.
drums at all. Must be all broken. And then they pay them like 10,000 rupees a day.
They fire the crackers. So that's supposed to be the some symbolic representation to something. Say, God, we are raising this thing.
Sees mud, it takes the mud and throws it over its body. I mean, it's a natural thing for the elephant to make it cool or to keep flies away. But people, they want an elephant always to be clean in front of in a temple, always to be shining and clean, which is not natural for the elephant. And then they are made to stand there and devotees give money, and that money is for the mouths and kavadi. So by the end of the day, he has quite a lot of money. And even one day, like many mouths last year when they had this camp 2 years back, they complained to me saying their income is gone. For this 45 days which the elephants are bought here, their income is finished. Now, out of the 35 elephants which have come here, most of them have foot problems. Big abscesses in foot, nails growing into each other, because their weight can't take this. Their legs can't take the weight of the body. They're overfed. In the daytime they leave them out to graze, but then they tie the shackle very low, short, so they have to shuffle through the forest, so they can't go very far. So the keeper in the evening he goes and easily finds them. They tie a drag chain, the drag chain, they see the mark. So these Mudumal elephants, the male elephant, and they have a lot of male elephants. They suffer quite badly. When an elephant is captive, the shackle is lifelong. People, because of religious reasons, these elephants are taken into captivity and they're kept in temples, and the diet is not correct, no proper exercise. They're made to stand on hard ground, and because of the high protein food which they feed, like rice and coconut and bananas and all, they become too fat, not enough exercise. And the elephants suffer the most.
Yeah, it's the rice and that millet and the toss gram and grain gram and jaggery and that sugar cane and that turmeric powder and that mineral mixture.
That's another thing which I've seen it twice or thrice here, and I'm really disgusted with it. They separate the calf from the mother before 2 years old, 1.5 to 2 years, because they feel that if the calf grows bigger, then they can't train it. So they build a kraal and they push this calf into this kraal and they lock the kraal. And the mother is standing outside screaming for the calf. The calf is inside screaming, and the mother refuses to leave. They tie her 4 legs and they drag this mother away. 2 other captive elephants. She falls, she tumbles, but they drag her away and they take her about 20 kilometers, another camp, and they tie her up there. This baby starts screaming. Then they give one particular person in charge. He's given charge of training. The quicker he can take it out of the kraal, he is considered a good mouth. So his patience is running out. So he's trying to train the elephant, but it's not cooperating. So he beats more and more. Instead of giving, okay, you take 2 or 3 months, you come slowly at your time. That's not. You say, the quicker, how soon you can take the elephant out of the kraal, he's considered, or they'll give him a permanent posting or something. Because usually they employ for these type of works temporary. So this fellow, he starts the beating, and he stands on top, and every time the elephant lifts the trunk to him or tries to do something which is not thing, he beats it. Then he gets in, then the beating on the nails and everything starts, and he's able to train the elephant. In Kerala, many captive elephants are kept like lorries. They're charged. They just keep them for the hire. That's all. It's really sad. And being huge elephants and the black bodies, the sun. My God, it's really sad. It's money making for the mouths and the cowries. When the tuskers are there, no? The tusker. They insure the elephants and then they wait for them to die, or they actually do something where they die, and then they get the money and then they go and buy another elephant and come.
Beautiful film, I must say.
Oh, I'm so homesick to India. You have no idea when I see that film. Oh my God. Yeah, so homesick. Mhm.
It was really a nice movie, and as we are about uh, the last section of this session, if anyone has any question, please do write it in the chat box, and we will try to answer. So, one question from Shireen. It says, hello, ma'am. Good evening from India. My name is Shireen. In the film, we saw a few elephants and some patches on their body. What do they indicate? Do they affect their body in some way? The white patches on the
I don't
tongue.
want the white.
She is asking about the colors, the white colors on the trunk and
Oh, you
ears.
mean little spots and all that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, no, that's natural.
It's natural.
That's natural, completely. Yeah, yeah. Asian elephants have that. In comparison to Africans, they don't have it. The Asians have that. These, these pinky and black and white spots. That's natural. Yes.
Okay. So another question from Melihat. Melihat asked, the music in some places had Turkish rhythms. How did you choose the music? And why did you choose the music?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a musician too, so I just have these ears for something which carries through it, and I hope you loved it. I had a friend when I was 17 and a half years, this is a long story actually, but a cute one. I went with a orange VW, escaped from home and went all the way down to southern of Yugoslavia and Italy, southern of Italy, and there were Castel del Monte. And after 50 years old, I went to a second-hand shop and I found a DVD which says Castel del Monte from a musician. That means it's ancient music from 1700, the Renaissance. I loved it, and it was exactly that. So I get in contact with Michael Godard. Now he's a very good friend and a composer as well, and he composed the music for that film.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's how things go, Yeah.
I have another question. Surya Narayan Rao, SR Surya Narayan Rao, and he's asking, how do you sense they are hungry? How did they express they are thirsty?
An elephant.
Yes.
In general.
In elephant.
I mean, what you have seen there is the kitchen, the feeding camp of Mudumalai, and elephant always eats. There's no limit to it. Basically, if you give them banana, fruits, melon, anything, coconut, pineapple, they eat it. No matter what the time of the day, no matter what amount, they just eat. They just love it. Is that because otherwise I wouldn't know how to. Is that the answer to the question? I'm not sure. They're just hungry ones.
Okay, let us go to another question from Manisha Burana. She asked, how do one start their journey as a science filmmaking if someone has no prior experience in the area but has passion for global issues?
This is good. That's great. See, you must have been inspired by something, I assume. And I would strongly follow what had inspired you. Again, the example in my case, that was elephants. So wildlife in general, elephants. And you go from there. You do your research, you spend a lot of time following your subject, and the subject will, you see, like it goes like a tree. Maybe the stem is your inspiration, and then it goes in a very broad way. And then you have to basically select what is important to tell, what is important for you to tell, what is important at the contemporary times to tell, what is scientifically the evaluation for the film, what has to be added. Do you need interviews? Do you need the whole thing opens up once you make steps into that direction. Yeah.
Nice. Yes. Another question from Mr. Dhruv Prasad Soni. Mr. Soni asked, hello, my name is Dhruv from New Delhi. Ma'am, why you have chosen India to make the film on elephant as other parts of the world having also elephants like Africa? As you were already working in Africa, so it's a legit question. Why from Africa to India to make film on elephant where the elephants are already there in Africa?
Yeah. The thing is that, well, there are lots of answers, I guess, to that question. One for sure is that India has a very high cultural and just a cultural life that always had interested me. Africa is different, and I'm not saying that it doesn't have cultural life, but it has a very different setup for everything. Also, like you take the example from Botswana. Botswana has, let's say, Botswana has 2 million people, but 130,000 elephants only in Botswana. 118, I think it is, 118,000 elephants only in Botswana. And you know, you drive through the country endlessly without seeing either a human being or an elephant. That is totally different in India. You might go to, like the friend I mentioned from Amit Goswami, to Gujarat, up there, and find really remote areas untouched that exist in India. But the general thing is that the population is so dense and so high. So what brings me more to the, you cannot, I'm saying just Indian elephants have a broad complex of problems and issues to be handled and to improve and to put out to the public, where the public doesn't know anything about it. However, in comparison, African elephants, they are extremely beautiful to watch in the wild. Extremely, it's no comparison. But once it comes to poaching, it's poaching and poaching and poaching and poaching. And this is horrible. And you have to follow the entire cartel that goes always, the tracks go to Asia because of the ivory and all that. So I keep telling friends, they often ask me, why don't you do the African elephants? It's again in front of my doorstep right now, but my focus is on Indian elephants.
Because maybe the way the society had accepted the elephants in India is not, it's not possible to see in Africa.
Yeah, just South Africa has 70 captive elephants in zoos. That's it. The elephants on a private basis doesn't exist.
Okay.
So
Another question from Serene KMV. She asked, what is the stereotypical behavior in elephants that is seen? Have you come across any stereotypical?
oh, you mean this thing? That?
Yes.
Yeah, that is called weaving. That means that is a behavioral stress disorder, as we call it. A behavioral stress disorder. That means it's only found in captive elephants. It's not
Okay.
found in the wild.
Mhm.
And in captive elephants, mostly you can observe that when they are facing a border in front of them, a wall, a stall, or anything that they cannot. An elephant is not just a migratory animal, it's a motion animal. It moves. So if it cannot move, it goes this, it does that. Yeah.
Okay.
And in the, you see that almost all captive elephants.
I think I can hardly take one more question. So if you have any question which I can ask, please let me know, or otherwise we came. So, Brigid, I don't think I have any other very relevant question to ask.
Yeah.
But before we wind up the session, I will request you to kindly let the new filmmakers and the film students and the film aspirants who want to make a film, and especially the science film, what message you want to give, what one thing you want them to learn, understand before going to making film.
Yeah, see, I'm always positive, and I do not like to put out like be careful, because that's a very demanding subject, or a very demanding perspective that you're taking on. I want to be positive and tell you that if you want to be a filmmaker, 100% go for it. Do anything possible, go for it. Learn from the others which are established already, or which are doing films already. You learn from anybody possible. Watch lots of films, and make set up your own, feelings for that. What it means for your life is basically it's something very enriching. It's something incredible, because you need all your skills, like your auditive skills, your visual skills. You need your hands. You have to be very sportive. You have to really be able to carry a heavy camera, not just a heavy camera through miles, through the hill up, hill down, through the bush, maybe. Wherever you go, you have to be ready anytime. You have to just, I have learned just in the recent years to give the camera somebody else. You do it. And I do this quite often in India. I said, you roll it. I'm speaking there. I have no time to act. You go there. And I tell them the major, the main things how to handle. And then they go. And there's not that much to do it. It's more the inside perspective that you have on something, and you as I would not be the person to make a film, for example, about physics, because that's just not my thing. Simply from school on, from early days on, neither mathematics or anything like that. I'm very bad in numbers, but anything that regarding environment, wildlife, violations, humanity, animals, that is where you find your footage and you go for it. Yeah.
Okay, that was a very a beautiful session, Brigitte. I must say, very passionate session, as it was expected from you. Thank you very much for taking your time and joining us for the session. Thank you once again.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Savysachi, also for your kindness to moderate this complex thing. You really did well. And I had never come to the idea to show that little film. Thank you so much. It was really nice. So I hope everybody can take something home.
Yes.
On the way, it's life. Yeah.
So friend, this was Miss Brigitte talking about science filmmaking is your passion, provoke the change. And she had elaborated so many things beautifully. Here we will take a 2-minute break. And when we will come from break, we will join by National Award winner, environment and science filmmaker, Miss Aarti Srivastava. And Ms. Srivastava will be a very good friend of mine, and we will be talking about science filmmaking and storytelling, the role of storytelling in a science filmmaking. So we will take a 2-minute break, and we will come back with Aarti Srivastava. Thank you, Brigitte, once again.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.
Great. So we would just leave that as is?
Yes.
Because I would like to get a tea, something in the kitchen. No, yeah, like that. Yeah, okay. And that. Okay.